Hello, my lovely individuals. Today we are going to get into the next project, which I spent 3 days crocheting this 90 by 90 white panel. And we are going to be doing another cross-stitch pillow inspired by Esle, I still don't know how to pronounce it. Same as last time, but we're gonna do it without like Chanel yarn to kind of see what it looks like, and we're going to get into Asprite to figure out the design. And I'm thinking of doing something like keys, like my logo key and like other keys, because I always like the key aesthetic. So let's make a key Kostego pillow, I guess. Really big one, really big pillow. Let's get into it. Using Asprite, we create a 90 by 90 pixel file and make squares for the seam allowance in preparation for when I sew the project together. After completing the design and excitedly showing my husband, he immediately claimed that it would take forever. Which is when I realized that he was correct and I was not thinking about that part of the plan at all, like usually. I tried to get some variation in keys across the entire design. Obviously some fails, but I think overall it looks pretty balanced in the end. I'm not very good at taking small bites, am I? Also, side note, I think Friday ends up being a panic edit day a lot, so we'll try to make the bigger projects premiere on Saturday at 5 p.m. and see how that goes for now. Once the design is done, it's time for about a week of stitching. Overall, I'm very happy with the initial design's layout. I end up stitching it in a variation here and there. Originally using standard yarn, I cross in the first key, while Enzo excitedly joins me every step of the way as he is my best little buddy. He's such a playful little boy, he kept on trying to get at the string, which he knows he's not allowed to touch string. But as instinct has it, he needs to go after it anyway, because he's such a silly goober. I tried to edit this as smooth and satisfying as I could. Later, I figured out how to clamp it to my rig to help kinda stabilize it a little bit. But ultimately, as you can see, I hated that yarn, and did it over with Bernat blanket yarn, and it ended up being a lot nicer and fuller in the long run. As to not bore you with the entire stitching process, I just do updates every few keys attached after this little speed run here. This one key took about 9 minutes. I didn't end up timing this project, but I definitely should have, because that would have been a really interesting statistic in my mind to see how long this one took. Obviously, the varying sizes of keys and the varying patterns definitely increase the time needed for a lot of the keys. When I was looking up pictures of keys and such on Pinterest, I found a lot of those double-sided keys where the teeth aren't just on one side. And other than like car keys, which I think a lot of them are like that, I didn't really ever have a double-sided key in my life. It feels like such a foreign thing. What has double-sided keys? Well, I guess at least in America, which is where I am from. Some of these early on keys, I'm just doing one layer of Bernat blanket yarn, so they end up having like the little holes in them, but later I figure out that 2 layers looks way better, and I still have a ton to go at this point. I illuminate behind the panel as well as the front because it makes it insanely easier to figure out where you need to stick your needle. I'm leaving a gap for the red logo key, as I will do that one last on the video. I eventually figured out marking the spaces you need to stitch with a washable marker makes it way quicker to figure out. And I totally didn't use a Sharpie, I swear, and I totally didn't get a stray mark on it at all, I promise. I figured try to make the key a satisfying edit as possible as well, so enjoy. Once it is all stitched up, I add a square of felt to the back of the design side so the stuffing doesn't poke through and it helps secure the stitches even more. Enzo really insists on helping me every step of the way, stealing my clips and such as he do. I ran the corners through my sewing machine and tried to do it about an inch from the edge, and it wasn't the most successful thing since the fabric was really hard to push through it because the foot was like basically already on it when the presser foot wasn't even down. But I sewed the other side on with it inside out and flipped it over. I thought I got footage of me flipping it inside out, but I guess I wasn't actually filming, so B-roll time. Okay, so my thoughts on this lovely pillow. I love it. I wanted a bigger pillow, so I'm not unhappy with the size. I'm just unhappy with how long it took. And I wasn't feeling too good for a while, so this project took a lot longer than anticipated. But I do that a lot because I bite off way more than I can chew. But overall, I would probably do single ply yarn just because it was so hard to fit this thing in my sewing machine. I was like afraid I was going to hurt my sewing machine that I just bought, not just bought, but I bought for the channel to do projects with the sewing machine, and then just be like, break it on one of the first projects I use on the channel. Yeah, that'd be my luck. So, yeah. Overall, I love the project. I'd adjust things here and there. I'd probably follow the pattern a little bit better because I did mess up the pattern occasionally that ended up affecting the entire result. Not very drastically, but it's like the red key got a little bit affected, but it's not super noticeable the way I kind of fiddled around it. But overall, it's something I love and will keep on my couch forever and use, and I like that it has a plushy side, so it's like an actual functional pillow on my couch instead of just being decorative, which is great because that texture, the crochet texture, even though like the bumps are soft, would drive me insane. So yeah, if you like what we do here, please like, comment, and subscribe, because as you know, it always helps out. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye!